So one of the things that I noticed in the over 7 years that I've worked in Springfield School District is that the positions that African Americans overwhelmingly tend to have is things like mentors, coaches, janitors, and some sort of counselor position. They don't see African Americans in the classroom, and that communicates to them that African Americans aren't the keepers of knowledge. We work with small populations of troubled students. Now, I do want to also say that Springfield School District completely supported me going through school to get my teaching credentials because they did state that they're committed to diversity and that they acknowledge that the staff population needs to reflect the student population more. But with that said, and having gone through everything that I've gone through to get my credentials, to get my teaching credentials, I still can't get a full-time teaching job. Kevin Sommerfeld, who we work with, same thing in 4J. He's going through all of this to get his teaching credentials, and they want him to come back and be a hall monitor.
I'm working on my master's. I recently ran into a roadblock where I kind of felt like, okay, when you come back, in the fall, we want you to be the campus supervisor. And I kept thinking about that, like, I'm not your police.
Not a teacher, but an educator, Kevin Sommerfeld. A lot of people know him around the 4J. But yeah, he's a great one too. And again, he doesn't even have his own classroom, but I learned a lot from him. And then there's another teacher that I had who just teaches like literature and stuff like that. And she gives a lot of shout outs to African American authors. That's where I learned about Langston Hughes, which I was amazed I didn't know about earlier on. And then at North Eugene, the only African American teacher I had was someone that I had already knew before I went there. And that class, it wasn't a serious class. It was like the people who are doing horrible in school go to that class so they can catch up. Which I wonder why, again, at Churchill, a lot of people try to put Kevin as when you get in trouble, he's coming to find you, or when you get in trouble, he's who you're gonna have to explain yourself to. That was the same at North Eugene, and it was weird because like a lot of people are afraid of people who identify as myself or even darker, and that's not gonna help anything if you keep putting them in those roles when that's not even the type of person that they are.
Not an actual teacher. I had a counselor. They were counselors and maybe my sports coaches, but I never had one single black teacher.
It makes them, African Americans, seem like they're not as educated, and which I think is not cool at all.
I had zero. Only a principal that was African American, that was it.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like people think that African Americans are not as smart as we actually are.
I feel like it shows that African Americans aren't good enough to be teachers, or they can't teach because they're not smart enough or something.
I want a bigger range. I feel like I'm not saying having all white teachers is wrong in any way, but I really wish I had more of a mixture, kind of mix it up.
We need more African American teachers in, the education system, because I want to see someone like me, that I can look up to.
Being a black person, you have to work twice as hard just to get one foot in the door. So especially being a black teacher, I really admire that. So whenever I do have a black teacher, I really try to pay attention to them more. Not only because they've gone through the struggle and they've accomplished a great goal in becoming a black teacher, but I'm gonna be able to relate with them as more. And that is gonna help me learn more, because if you can relate to a teacher, you're gonna learn more.
The numbers of educators of color have been, I would say, intentionally limited. And whether it's a conscious intent or not, the effect is still the same.
None of us in this classroom have really even had black teachers. And just that right there is saying that we don't matter, because when I see a white teacher, that automatically tells me that they have some type of authority, or that they are above me somehow because they're the teacher. And I just feel like we're put down, and we're not considered to matter. Our lives aren't necessarily, that's not what we're taught here in America. All we're taught is that we're entertainers, play sports, make music. That's about it. Drop out of high school.